Xavier Worthy, Texas wide receiver, 5'11" and a quarter, 165 pounds, 8 3/4 inch hands, 31 1/8 inch arms, 74 1/4 inch wingspan. He is 20 years old. Whew. Be 21 later on this month, end of this month. He ran a record combine breaking 4.21.
Is that fast?
That's fast.
Fastest ever.
What? He had he tied for the best 10-yard split for 1.49, 131 inch broad jump, and a 41 inch vertical. So this dude is explosion all over the place. That came out wrong.
Yep.
In 14 games last year, he had 75 receptions, 1,014 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 rushing attempts, 35 yards to go on top of that.
Yeah, 1 inch shorter than, when you're talking about size-wise, obviously he's super lean at 165. He's an inch shorter than Devontae Smith and 5 pounds lighter than Devontae Smith. And Devontae came in real lean. But you mentioned 4'2", 140. NFL teams fall on their seats for speed like this.
Salivating.
This is the kind of speed that gets you into the first round of NFL drafts.
It's the kind of speed that gets you right onto the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. If Al Davis was alive, he'd be a Raider. But I'll say this for Xavier Worthy, he's the best fast receiver that I've ever seen. Because normally when I say fast, I'm talking about guys that run into 4.2s like this.
And you're talking about guys that's like their main quality.
Yeah. And that's their number one asset. Like those guys are like the John Ross, for example.
Sure.
Like these guys.
Darius Hayward Bay.
Yeah. Oof. Another perfect example. These guys never translate because that's what they do. They just run really fast. Not Xavier Worthy. It's funny because we're talking about 2 Texas guys back to back. We're gonna do Adonai Mitchell next, and
we did 2 USC last time.
Yeah,
I figured it'd be nice to watch them together.
I like that. And what I came away with, and I said it to you guys, and you guys all laughed and agreed too. There's 2 things that came away the most after watching Xavier Worthy and Adonai Mitchell. One, Quinn Ewers sucks. I don't think he's a good.
He's not great, man. There's some really bad throws that he makes at times.
For both of these guys, we might as well get this out of the way. Xavier Worthy had the most uncatchable passes out of all the receivers we're going to talk about. It was around 22%, and Adonai Mitchell was not far behind. So literally both of these guys had very subpar quarterback play to work with.
It showed up. I don't know how, if Arch Manning is the man, I don't know how he doesn't.
Arch Manning is the man.
Yeah, I don't know how he doesn't beat out Quinn Ewers. I just don't know because this doesn't make sense. I understand why Ewers went back because he needed to, but his tape is bad. Second is, I was able to watch more Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah,
there was plays where it wasn't going to Worthy or Mitchell, but Brooks had a big play, and I would stop and go back and watch the play again just for Brooks. And I was like, wow.
Me also. I'm thinking about going back and watching some more and maybe adjusting some things because
Trey Benson and Jonathan Brooks are first round rookie picks in this draft.
And Marshawn Lloyd
going to be.
I had Lloyd and Brooks tied.
Yeah.
That watching this again might be enough to put Brooks back on top.
I got Brooks' number
to put
2
him.
here.
I was doing the same thing while we were watching Taj Washington and stuff too. Though I was like
watching Lloyd.
Damn, look at Lloyd.
So Xavier Worthy. Where does he win? This is a guy who he's a pretty good route runner.
Yeah.
Which I came away impressed. He's so obviously the numbers show it, but it shows up on 2. He's explosive. That burst is there. It's on tape. He eats up that defensive back cushion like that. He's on that defensive back immediately, which helps his stem, stacks his receivers immediately because of how fast he is. And he's not. A lot of times you'll see skinny guys and this real fast line up in the slot. Not Xavier. He lined up predominantly outside over 60% of the time. So he's able to get separation with his routes. He's got really decent hands as well. He's a receiver. And he also brings, he tries to bring that toughness. Now, obviously, his physicality is not there. He's 165 pounds.
Yeah.
But he's not afraid to lean into it. He'll go at a defensive back. Now, he won't win, but he will go at the defensive back and try and lay him out. And he gets pretty pumped about it, which I love too. He's not afraid to go out there and block, which is sweet. When he lays down a good block, he'll get up there and flex on him. Yeah. You know what I mean? When he went in for that touchdown to go run over the defensive back, he didn't win, but he did put the defensive back on his ass. And
you fall forward. That's extra yardage every time.
Yep. So this is somebody who can come out here and he can win as a receiver. He showed he could do some good ball tracking.
I thought he did a really good job adjusting to poorly thrown balls.
Which was a lot. Easily was, like I said, easy to get separation. Helped his teammates because he's so fast as well on the outside there as well. So this is somebody who's you have to pay attention to him when he's on the field. Now, first contact, he's usually going down. Like he's not the hardest guy to bring down here. He's only 165 pounds. He's I mean, that's
he's a guy.
Lateral ability's not like overly anything you want to like overly write home about.
But he's explosive in and out of breaks and stuff like that. So I think what he lacks in lateral movement skills, he makes up for with just burst and explosion.
Sure.
And that's how he's going to win. You mentioned his run after the catch stuff. He's never going to be a guy that runs people over in the NFL. He's going to win by outrunning guys to spots and stuff like that. So, it's nice. It's a nice bonus that he has a little bit of dog in him to want to do that occasionally. He's never going to, that's not how he's going to make a living in the NFL. So, it's, I guess, icing on the cake, but not something worth mentioning for me. Like, as far as this is a skill set of his, like it's cool that he's got it, but, speed, like that's this guy's game. And that's how he's going to win. It's explosion. I mean, you hope that he gets into a creative offense, right? That's his best case scenario. Somebody that can get him open, get him in space. That's where he looks the best, is where he doesn't have to make a guy miss or anything like that. He's still running and moving and able to then
just
turn on the jets.
Obliterating angles.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that's the one caveat. I want to see kind of where he goes and how they've used similar guys like that in the past, because there's no one quite like him, but there's been other fast guys on teams, and hopefully they see more in him like we do, that he's not just a go long guy, because he can do some things over the middle. He can, he's never going to be a great contested catch guy just because the defensive backs are going to likely have 20 pounds on him, and all it takes is them going for the ball at the same time as him going for the ball. They're going to win that most of the time. Like that's just
Physics.
true facts. So it's.
Kansas City would be such a good spot.
I mean, that would be great. I already mentioned Miami as a place that knows how to use a guy like this. Obviously, they've already got enough speed there, but a guy like Tyreek's only going to be around for so long.
There are two guys with absolute cannons of arms, and Justin Herbert and Josh Allen
that could
also.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, they can sling it. So
and they're not going to underthrow him like Quinn did there at Texas. So I mean, there was times where he had 3, 4, almost 5 yards on the defender, and the ball was so badly underthrown that it gave defenders time to catch up and stuff like that.
Sometimes still overthrown somehow,
and that's why you like and that's why you get in the Dynasty film room and you watch this all 22, because by watching this all 22, you can see a ton of instances where he was wide open, and you're like, man, the right quarterback and the right system would have saw that, and that's a big play. Oh, that's a big play. Like, consistently showed up on tape. Like, I came away, I have him in my third tier. Like, he's in that Lad McConkey tier. Yeah. Because I really like what I saw from him. And like I said, in the right system, right NFL offense, he's a big play. He's the kind of player where, like, dude, get him 4 catches, and he's coming away with 80 yards and a touchdown, probably like almost every single week. Like,
no doubt.
He's a double-digit guy on his explosiveness, and I can't wait to see where he ends up, because I don't see him sneaking out of the first round. Guys like if his talent don't sneak out of the first round. He's a first round pick.
It's because no one else can run as fast as him. Like, it's just there's so many people
can't coach that.
Yeah, it's a God-given ability. He can do it. No one else really can, and somebody's going to have a creative way, to a plan in place to get this guy the ball.
Or Xavier Worthy, you're like, he's not hard to bring down, but if you give him that angle, you give him that crease, and he can see that green or you see that end zone, like, he's going. Like, it's good luck.
I mean, you get him on a crossing route as long as it's the play is properly constructed and there's not a lot of people over on that side of the field anymore. He could be gone on any given play.
And see how easy, like, he can get separation. Guys like him always get separation because of speed. What's nice is with a player like Xavier Worthy he's savvy enough to get separation outside of just because of his speed. And that's what I want to emphasize as well. Like, he is a wide receiver. 99.9% of the time we talk about guys like Xavier Worthy, it's just like, oh, well, he's really fast, but good luck. Maybe it'll work out,
Yeah.
And the only guy that like really kind of like panned out somewhat was a guy like Will Fuller, right? Like someone
Sure.
well, Deshaun Jackson was a guy who probably panned out the best when it comes to this kind of player. Deshaun Jackson was the best. But then like out of that, you're talking about a guy like Will Fuller, who was, smells like cabbage.
Smells like cabbage.
Garrett?
Yeah, Will Fuller got a 74.15 for me, so over a 74 mark is a pretty darn good receiver.
Xavier Worthy did.
Yep, Xavier Worthy.
You said Will Fuller.
Did I say Will Fuller?
Yes, you did.
Will Fuller did not. We were not grading at that point. Xavier Worthy got 74.15 for me. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought his releases were a little bit better than I expected for being such a lean guy like that. Thought he did a decent job. Not great. I gave him a 7 there, but I was pleasantly surprised there.
Let me ask you before you get on.
Yeah.
That one was a little bit tough for me to evaluate because they were giving him cushion.
They gave him a lot of cushion.
Often.
Yep.
Like it's hard to.
There wasn't a lot of press man. There was some, but there wasn't a lot.
It's such a small sample size that that's a tough one for me.
And you could tell typically when they had like a safety over the top.
Yep.
When they were doing that because you have to.
And the thing is, it's tough to evaluate now, but he's going to be seeing a lot of the same coverage in the NFL because even at the
Doesn't
NFL,
matter. It's still the fastest ever.
Even in the NFL, he's elite speed, so it should be still okay.
Route running wise, I was with you guys. I gave him a real strong score at an 8 for route running. I really liked what I saw of his route running, and part of that due to his speed. His comeback routes are just devastating because they give him so much space. They're 15 yards downfield. Okay, I'll just take the first down.
They're giving him 12 yards.
Just give me the first down every time. First down. Like, and they kind of have to. They kind of have to. And so when he can still be savvy enough to sell the go route and be able to come back, that's really tough to cover because you guess. And what they're doing is they're making calculated risks, right? If I guess wrong on the comeback, okay, he's still in front of me and I have a chance to make the play. If I guess wrong and he does the go route,
he's dancing in the end zone.
I'm not catching up. So they have to make calculated risks on that. And so there's going to be, even if a team does a good job of covering him and okay, well, he still had 6 catches for 72 yards because just a bunch of outs and comeback routes that he'll just get all day because they're going to give him that cushion.
And the fact that,
go ahead.
The fact that he's only 20 years old, the speed's going to stick around for a while. And you're right. Like his speed, just the thought process alone is going to turn defensive backs' hips early. When they and once if he's the right coach staff, hey man, like as soon as you see whatever the play is, if you see him turn his hips early at the defensive back, you shoot back, boom, 7 yards, boom, 7 yards.
Yep, all day. So he's going to get a lot of that underneath stuff easily, and all they have to do is just make one mistake, and now it's a big time play. I was a little bit lower on hands than you guys, but with these types of guys, I don't really care. And that sounds bad. You're a receiver, you need to catch the football and whatnot. But we've seen this kind of be a little bit overrated, especially for guys that are not contested catch type of guys, where does it really affect fantasy numbers? Usually some of the most drops in the NFL are guys like Jamar Chase and Stephon Diggs and guys that are big name players that are scoring tons of points. So
and more targets and more opportunities to drop a ball.
Exactly.
And
so
it's his hand strength more than anything than I would say his hands, because he did make some nice over the shoulder catches too.
He did. So that was literally like the only real negative mark other than contested catch. And that was really it. His yards after the catch are what they are. He's not making a ton of people miss, but he will outrun a lot of guys. You're right. He tracked the ball well, and obviously he's a burner. So, 74 for me is a pretty solid score.
Is he in your third tier then?
Yes, he's in my third tier. So, it's basically, well, I can't really get into it now. We'll wait till after the next guy.
Yeah. I have him ahead of I have him one spot ahead of the next guy.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I have the next guy higher.
He's in my third tier as well. And he actually had the same exact score, which is rare, as Ladd McConkey. So, and they play much differently. Yeah. But ton of tools to work there from like a prospect, like pure prospect standpoint. Like the GM or a coaching staff has to be like salivating for like once they get their hands on this guy and able to refine some of the little things with him as far as like release goes and like his contested catch ability. Maybe there's some things that he can work on there to get better. Like this guy I like him a lot too. Like I'm pretty high on Xavier Worthy. Definitely a first round pick. So I like him a lot.
He seems like he's a great person to have your roster because like You throw even if he's your wide receiver 4, you throw him in here, you feel pretty good about he's gonna score me some points today. And if he gets that first pound pedigree, that's even better. It's gonna be real interesting to see where he goes in rookie drafts because he scores really well on our scores. He's gonna get first round draft capital, as well. So again, really good value here. Picks because I'm still adamant these running backs are gonna go
so young,
anywhere from picks 6 to. I'm saying these top 2 running backs are going between pick 6 and 10, and not after. That's how adamant I am about these running backs. And in the long run, when it's all said and done, between 6 and 10. So getting a guy obviously you have Ladd McConkey, Brian Thomas. The next guy we're going to talk about, haven't gotten the last 2 shows for next week to see who's this weekend because I know there's some guys I want to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
But you're going to get a guy like Xavier Worthy, pick 10, 11, 12, 2-1.
Yep.
This is a win. This is bringing me back to okay, this class is solid. If you have where usually you're top 9, you feel good. Everybody's all locked in, top 8. But out of the top 8s, we're you get an elite prospect.
Yeah.
And the top 8's not counting any running backs.
Right.
So pick 9 through pick 15, you're getting some really good prospects where in some years these guys are the 6th overall prospect, 7th overall prospect. So this is a really good, if you could jump back a little bit and feel good. I pick 1-4 in the league. I'm man, if I could just somehow squeeze back 1-5, 1-6 and pick up anywhere of those 2-1, 2-3, I feel good about it.
You're always wheeling and dealing.
Dane Brugler, he mocked Jonathan Brooks in the first round.
First round of the NFL draft.
Yeah.
Recently?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
When was this?
It was his most recent one.
I'll have to check that out.
He must have been watching some of this Xavier Worthy tape.
Dude, I'm telling you, I was dude, do I need to watch more Jonathan Brooks? Because he looks so,
it's just that damn injury, dude.
Consistently,
it's the
too.
injury.
He looked really good. I mean, Trey Benson's my running back 1, but Jonathan Brooks is now my 1B. And I'm 100% convinced he's going day 2. 100%.
Oh, he's easily going day 2.
I got Lloyd, Brooks, and then Benson.
Yeah, I think Benson
Now.
and Brooks go in the second. I won't even say day 2. I'm saying second round they go.
I think both of them go second round as well.
What you get? I don't know. There's going to be leagues. Had a J.J. McCarthy.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Which is crazy because I still it will happen. I still don't know how you take those guys ahead of Odunze
They get pushed
and
up
Bowers.
every year. What do you mean? Every running backs always get pushed up.
They
Those
sure
get pushed
do.
up, but I mean, there are quite a few teams that could use some running backs. You get the Cowboys, you get the Chargers, you got the Commanders, you
Every
got the
one of my
Giants,
dynasty
you got
teams.
yeah.
I'm in 20 leagues. All 20 teams could use one of those guys. You can always use them.
You can always use another running back.
Nothing. Again, you build around young wide receivers, but man, a young running back is going to get you a nice, good haul in there right now because they are few and far between. And those guys honestly might be worth the most value right then and there.
Honestly.
So, real excited about Xavier Worthy. Really good prospect. Way better. A guy who I didn't know anything about outside of he's super fast. Came away very pleasantly surprised. Very comfortable in my third tier. Same thing, we were talking about, Roma Dunze, another class is wide receiver 1. This guy's a top 3 guy in a lot of other classes. So
He would have been, nerd score wise, it would have been really, I'd have to go back and look. He would have either been 2 behind Smith and Jigba or 3 behind Flowers for me because I know he had very similar score to Flowers.
And that's fair. I love Flowers' tape, just didn't love his situation.
Yeah, so, and all of this is pre-draft.
You had Zay at 76.6.
I'd say that high.
Mm-hmm. You loved Zay.
You loved Zay.
Clearly I did.
Yeah.
He did look good, though.
Even more than Tez.